Hello. So today the question I'm going to be answering is, how does sexual reproduction benefit a species? The main reason sexual reproduction is beneficial to a species is because it helps the best of the species survive and reproduce by increasing the amount of something called genetic diversity. But before we dive further into genetic diversity, we're first going to discuss how genetic diversity happens. It happens because of a process called sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction is when two individuals of the same species but opposite sex create offspring together. Now, what happens when two individuals procreate together is that their offspring possesses the best traits of both parents because the offspring also has the best genes of both parents. Genes, remember, are parts of DNA molecules that help define who you are. It defines everything from your hair color, to your size, to even your personality. Genes are mixed during sexual reproduction by a process called meiosis, which is pictured below. Okay, now that we understand how genetic diversity comes to be, I will discuss why that is so important. Genetic diversity, which we now know is caused by sexual reproduction, helps a species to evolve by a process known as natural selection. You see, every offspring that is born will have a unique combination of genes and a unique combination of physical traits, and sometimes those traits give certain offspring an advantage at survival over others. Because the offspring with the advantageous traits are the ones most likely to survive and reproduce, those same traits will be passed on to another generation of offspring with that same advantageous trait. Eventually, all individuals of that species will have that advantageous trait because the individuals without it will have died off and would not have been able to create offspring. This is much better than reproducing asexually because species that reproduce asexually simply create copies of themselves and no mixing of the genes take place. A good example of genetic diversity and the process of natural selection at work is the example of the peppered moth pictured below. As you can see, there are two variants of this moth, a darker moth and a lighter moth. That is a result of genetic diversity. The dominant color used to be the lighter colored moth because they were hidden better from birds when they rested against the light colored trees. But during the Industrial Revolution in the 1800s, especially in England where there were many factories at work, the air became filled with soot, which turned the trees darker and made the lighter moths easier to be seen, which in turn started to kill the lighter moths off. Within months and after several generations, the dominant color became darker moths because those were the moths that were surviving during the Industrial Revolution. So, in conclusion, sexual reproduction helps the best of a species to come out and pushes evolutionary process forward by increasing gene diversity, allowing natural selection to happen, and allowing species to be better adapted to their environment. Thank you for watching, and I hope that helps.